things you have to control in this life. That is your stomach and your penis. I'm going to say that again. There are two things you have to control in this life. That is your stomach and your penis. If you ask an older man what got him in trouble in his past, usually it has something to do with what he was eating or who he was sexing. Control what you put in your stomach and control where you put your penis. And you will open up your life to a world of peace. Hey, y'all got that for free.
Shalom. Kol Holo Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha HaKadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. My name is Barad Debal, coming to you from the GMS campus, Indianapolis. And to all those listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. Especially to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians that make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Today, just a few scriptures, nothing, and there's several others. Maybe even do, another video. But this is just a quick hit. Brother shared that in the chat, and of course, understanding that when it comes to men, and you come in to serve the Lord, the scripture tells us how we must prepare our souls for temptation. And as we look at what the brother was saying on that video, that one of two big temptations that men face here in the Americas, along with many others, but it'd be our diet, what we eat, being able to control how we eat and what we put into our mouths, and also where you put your, as he would say, your man part. All right. And so who you deal with. And of course, according to the scriptures, men, we're talking about men, real men who deal with women. OK, because the scriptures speak against, those lewd acts of men with men and women with women. So, of course, knowing who you're dealing with in the world, where you're putting your, who you laying down with, making babies with. When we were once in the world, we came into this world, we shed off the old man. See, there was times where, you had men who would just, when it came down to laying with women, they would just lay with whoever they had opportunity to, when the opportunity presented itself, or they would holler just all kind of random chicks because they liked the woman because of how she looked or the certain aesthetics of a woman. And yet when you come into this discipline, becoming a disciple of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that disciple goes into us being disciplined, being more controlled in how we conduct ourselves and how we behave ourselves. Also, when it comes to food, being out in the world, many men ate any and everything. Okay, whatever what they would say, your heart's desire, whatever you had your mind set on to eat, you would actually eat it. You would even gorge and eat to the point of, to where, we talk about having the itis or being full to the point of discomfort. And then understanding that as you do that, you then start to gain weight, you become lazy, and other things actually come along with it. And so these are things, two big things. When the brothers posted in the chat, it actually sparked my spirit, with a couple precepts and one other that a brother had also shared. And so I'm gonna get the first one. The first one dealing with meats. This is Sirach chapter 37 verse 29. It says, "Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats." So if you look at satiable, it's being able to be appeased or satisfied, eating just enough that's necessary. And then, of course, when it comes down to, the teachings of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, when I go with our head apostles and elders, sometimes coming into this knowledge, this understanding, you want to jump right into getting the meat, the harder topics. Sometimes you want to just take your time and gradually grow. Just want to add that tidbit in there as well, because sometimes we want to get into this understanding. You just want to jump into everything, and that could harm you, do more harm than good. Like our elder, a beloved elder, Anatba, he when we first came in and he was teaching us, things that was taught to him, it was like stick to the milk, and the scriptures talked about how, through the milk of the scriptures, that's how you grow. When you come in here as a babe and you're a baby, you don't want to go right into the heavier things, like a baby in the world. You don't have teeth. You don't just start giving them steak. I just want to throw that bit in there because, again, the Lord has his ways with all parts of our life, because this is our life. But when it comes to the physical meats, right, and the dainties, the candies, the sweets, sometimes it's good. And what we've been learning, again, from our elders and apostles and elders, is that it's good to take in some bitter. Okay, they got bitter herbs and certain things that actually help you to digest these things, because the next verse says, for excess of meats brings sickness, and surfeiting will turn to choler. So you start getting irritable, angry, and different things start to happen with your spirit. All right, that's why you want to have a nice balance of foods and things and how you eat, but you have to be taught these things. First and foremost, the Lord tells us what the principal things are, but he also, through the laws, statutes, commandments, he gives us a foundation of how we should eat and what we should eat. He even sets it when it comes down to like high holy days and feast, one in which the Passover, how we have the bread, the wine, the bitter herb, and the significance of it all as well. So it's a beautiful thing when the Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is teaching us how we should continue to be in this life. And the next one, scripture, is this one here. It says Proverbs 25 and 28. It says, he that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. So you have to have a discipline, especially as a man, whether it be, when you go to work, you maybe hit the gym, how the foods you eat, and then also the people that you associate yourself with. That's another topic, but associating yourself with men that are like mind, and in this case, men of wisdom. Okay, starting with the men of GMS and those that teach the likewise doctrines. But if you don't have that discipline, and you don't, in these words and the wisdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, you're easily set to go every way, which wind of doctrines, every belief systems. And then when it comes down to women, you could fall into certain temptations and lust. Okay, one in which, as far as we always talk about how this society pushes that adulterous life. They speak highly of adultery, but we know that those that commit adultery, according to the scriptures, is death. That is the ramifications of it. And so when you happen to see a woman and you see that she's beautiful and she looks nice, she may even be giving you an eye, winking at you or whatnot. A girl don't have a ring on, you talking to her, but yet she has a man. Or you talk to a woman, she has a ring, and the moment you notice it, you're like, oh, okay, she's married. But then nowadays, sometimes they may be having rings on just for fashion. You ask a question and she say, yeah, I have a husband. And then you leave it alone. But you see in the world, men will ask that question, and then they'll turn around and they'll continue to pursue the situation. So you have to have a discipline, because again, there's things that come along with being undisciplined, and a lot of that undiscipline will lead to you being vulnerable, it can be hurt. It's the last scripture I wanted to get. This is the book of Sirach. The brother posted in the GNT. This is Sirach 18 verses 30 and 31. It says, do not be controlled by your lust. It says, keep your passions in check. If you allow yourself to satisfy your every desire, you will be a joke to your enemies. And so the reason I wanted to make sure I brought that out, that was a very good, a very, very good scripture, because again, the enemy, he knows that we are lacking in many facets of our life. And how do we know? Because with him, Esau Edom, so-called white man, being in rulership, he has set actually certain things up that have hindered many families of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, whether it be lacking funds, lacking of women, lacking of fathers in a household, just to name a few. And in the process of all that and understanding the things that we lack, they dangle these certain things within the world. And so many people in the world make their life passion in pursuit of this type of happiness. And what happens is that the Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh Shai has shown us that what Esau Edom has done, the things that he has built, it's all temporal. Okay, the scriptures that go into this life is just but for a moment. And with us understanding that, and having the understanding, this should help you to be a lot more disciplined in knowing that I can't have this woman now. Or like, matter of fact, Paul actually made a mention. He says all things that are expedient, but all things, let me get it. Hopefully it'll come up. And I'm just kind of roughly, hopefully it'll come up. This isn't it. This Corinthians, that's the one I want. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 23 and 29, and we'll end here. And I don't think we're gonna go all the way down, but he says, all things are lawful for me. So of course, all the things, even in things that are lawful unto us, okay? And let's keep that frame of mind for the moment, because again, the world is going to provide you things that are lawful and the things that are unlawful, and the things that are unlawful, they're going to push in abundance. Like, you got all kind of commercials that push, abominable foods, eating bacon and shrimp boils and different things like that, right? But in this respect, he said all things that are lawful, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me. And actually he said that twice. The second time I missed the first for me. He says, but all things edify not. Okay. So everything that we get ourselves into, and we always got to think Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, and making sure that these things are either edifying or how these are building us up. And then, and in the process of that, if we're putting Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai first and how we move, then we know that through the spirit of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, we will become that much more disciplined and favorable in his sight. So I hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, exhorting of some sort to the body of true believers and those that are coming into this knowledge. Before I end, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Rahah HaKadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe, and to all those listening and learning to you, I say Shalom.